No, I would let her kill me.
I like honestly same.
Hey, let's talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Collective Sound. And today I have such a fun guest with me, Taylor Janzen, the beautiful, the wonderful Taylor. Taylor, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. I'm so glad that I forced you to do this. I've been such a big fan of you for so long, so I'm excited. And we've met briefly multiple times and hung out, but I feel like I'm
Right.
excited to actually be able to talk about music and things.
Yeah, for sure.
So I make everyone do this when they come on, and I would love if you could do like an introduction, like you're in your first class of college, where you give your name, your age, your hometown, and a fun fact about you.
Oh my God. Okay. I am Taylor. I'm 21. And what were the other ones?
Your hometown and a fun fact about you.
Oh, weird. Okay. My hometown is Winnipeg, Canada. And my fun fact is when I was a young person, I was on a biblical puppet team.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow, how long did you do
I'm
that?
just gonna leave it at that.
Okay, perfect.
Longer than I should have.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. We can leave it there. Well, for everyone who doesn't know Taylor, Taylor is an incredible musician, songwriter, fangirl, all the above. And I feel like we have to address Taylor's re-recordings that came out last week because I know we're both huge fans.
Big fan.
How are you
Taylor
feeling
Swift.
about it?
I honestly didn't expect to like feel as strongly as I did. Because like Fearless was like the first record of hers that I ever heard.
Yeah.
And it was like a big proponent in like me learning how to write songs. And so, but for some reason it's just not the one that I go back to that often.
I get it.
And so like I really didn't expect to like be, especially since they were the same, I was like, I don't know if it's going to be like interesting because she's making them the same. But like as soon as I started listening, I started like crying. Because like when Love Story came out, I was like, it's never been my favorite song. I don't really care. But as soon as like the opening track started, I started just like having this entire moment.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like it's such a nostalgic album too. Like I feel the same way. It was my favorite Taylor album growing up, but I feel like now that I'm older, I like connect so differently to different albums. So I felt the same way. I was like, it's probably not going to be that different. Like the bonus tracks were great, like whatever. And then I started listening and I was like, oh my God, like my life just like flashed before my eyes.
Yeah. And I think it's also because like I know that album subconsciously, like front to back, every 100%. Detail, every ad lib, like everything she does. So like when she switches it up, the amount of euphoria that just like rushes into my brain,
I agree,
is insane.
It's scary. And like what a queen. Like I would just literally do anything for her. Like she just owns my soul to an extent.
No, I would let her kill me.
Like honestly same. Like she could stomp on me if she wanted to, just like full on highest heel she has right on my face.
She'd have a good reason.
I
would trust that.
Who would you say Taylor was like the first person you like fanned over, or who would you say was that person for you?
I'd say it's Avril Lavigne.
Before
even that.
Better.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so what's your like Avril Lavigne origin story?
Almost all of my like original fangirl things were like introduced to me by my mom. Because my mom like it's so weird because she's like this Christian mom, but at the same time she would be like bringing home Avril Lavigne CDs, and I'd be like, what?
Love it.
But I just remember I was like 6 or 7 and I was obsessed with Avril Lavigne. I wanted to be her. I thought that her eyes were naturally like that. Like they didn't have eyeliner. I didn't know what eyeliner was.
I'm dead.
I was like, I wish my eyes were naturally dark.
Just like naturally you look like dead. That's so funny. The like 1-inch eyeliner.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's
and like the ties with like the vests and the belts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
For sure.
Were you like a fangirl over her? Like buying all the CDs, getting the tickets, all the merch?
Well, I mean,
as much as you could at the age.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like I didn't have any merch or I never saw her live, like none of that. But I definitely spent every waking moment listening to Avril Lavigne in between like all of my like Christian kid songs.
Oh, 100%. Do you still?
It'd be like Veggie Tales, and then like
Skater Boy.
Give it up to you.
I'm dead. Wow, what a range! I'm really proud of you.
Yeah,
it really made you who you are today, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess that's like before, you're 6, you like don't have the internet, like any of that. I feel like we have become friends and connected and all that stuff because of Paramore. Were they like one of the first ones you like were like a fan, like internet culture, all of that?
Yeah, that was the first like internet culture fan thing of mine, because it was like Avril and Taylor were like kind of before then. But as a teenager, it was like very like all about Paramore.
That's so sweet.
I have a very like I have a very intense love for things that when I was younger,
sister,
it was a little more. When I was younger, it was a little more unbridled. But yeah, no, I've seen Paramore 10 times.
Dang.
Which, I mean, they've never been to Winnipeg.
So that's crazy to think about. Where's the farthest you've gone for them?
Went to Florida one time.
Okay, great. As you should.
I don't know why.
You just said that's the one show I'm gonna go to.
Yeah.
Did you do Parahoy?
I did Parahoy 1 and I did Parahoy 3.
Oh my gosh, fun. Okay, so for those who don't know, for people who aren't Paramore fans, which if you aren't, like, educate yourself. But Parahoy is a cruise ship that they do. And so fans can get tickets, they bring other bands, and they basically do like a whole cruise and perform and all of that. So how was being on Parahoy? Like number 1 also.
The first one, I was 14.
Oh, wow. Okay. A child.
I went with my dad.
Cute.
And it was, I did the karaoke thing.
Queen. Okay.
And I won that.
Did you really?
I did. I was.
How did that feel at 14?
Insane. I thought I was a little celebrity, honestly. Well, because people would come up to me all over the ship, and I was like, "This is crazy."
Wow. What did you sing?
I sang "Still Into You."
Okay, classic.
Yeah, and it was crazy because I don't. Just picture your 14-year-old self.
Mm-hmm.
Just picture that, and then picture them meeting a musician that you respect a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what was that interaction like?
There wasn't a whole lot of interaction. It was mainly just me singing and being super, super awkward. So that, I try to block it out, honestly.
Okay. I mean, it's a trauma response. I get it.
People are like, "Oh, this is a cool experience. You must think about it all the time." I'm like, "No, I gotta block it out." Anything before the age of 17, I've blocked out.
Sister, I don't even know if I would give myself 17. Like, it's a good 19 for me.
Yeah.
How was doing it the second time? Did you do it the second time?
I didn't do karaoke. Okay. Or I did the third Parahoy.
Right, that's what I meant. Okay. Yes. So how was going on the third Parahoy compared to the first time?
Oh, so different. The third one, I was like an adult, and
great.
And I went with my friends, and it was fun, and it was a really good time. I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
Because it was a bit less like fan based, and it was just like I'm going on a cruise with my friends. We're watching these bands. So it was sick. I loved it.
That's amazing.
Cherish that for. I don't block that one out of my
brain. No, you hold that one close. How did you find Paramore?
My cousin, my older cousin, was into all of the like typical like the tooth and nail bands.
Yes, 100%.
You know, like the vibe
yes.
where it's like Christian adjacent rock bands.
yeah. Like Switchfoot and
or like even like Me Without You and like
yes.
Which to me is kind of one of the only ones that has aged well in my brain. But like even like Family Force 5.
Okay, yeah.
like
I forgot they existed.
Yeah, like that whole vibe.
Okay, great.
So that's how I found Paramore, because my cousin was into all these different bands and showed me them.
That's really
and
sweet.
I was obsessed.
And you've been a fan since. How old were you when you first started listening to them?
I want to say like 10 or 11.
Cute. Okay. Oh, yeah. Such a long lifetime with them.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And like so crazy how that's changed, you know, over the years. And like how much Paramore has changed, which has been so fun.
Yeah. It's just crazy how like being a fan of music has changed.
Oh my gosh. 100%. Yeah, because
like,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, did that like love for Paramore and all of that stuff like translate into other bands? And how have you seen being like a fangirl when you were young translate into being 21 and being an artist and all of that?
Yeah, it's crazy. Because I still consider myself like a goober fan of like every band that I love.
Yes.
But now a lot of those bands, like some of those bands are my friends, which is weird. Or like even bands that I meet like as my friends, and then I listen to their music and I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm like a big
I'm obsessed with you.
Yeah, like bands, even like bands in the local Winnipeg scene, or like Canadian bands or bands that are my friends. It's like, oh, now I'm a fan.
100%.
And yeah, I found that to be very interesting. It's so weird.
Oh, I'm the same way. I feel that way too, because I like can't just be a like passive fan of someone. Like if I'm gonna like you and your music, like I'm kind of obsessed with you. I feel like it's just in my veins. And so it is funny when you like, you know, meet them or you become friends with people, and then you're like, oh, you do music, then you listen to it, you're like, oh my gosh, wait, like even if we weren't friends, I would be obsessed with you. It's such a interesting like dynamic. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's crazy.
But I love it. When did you start like writing and recording your own stuff?
Well, I started writing very bad songs when I was like 9, and I wanted to be Taylor Swift.
Yes.
And I was so melodramatic, and I would just write all of these really like just these ridiculous songs. I remember one time this was like, I've never told anyone.
Oh my gosh, wow. Exclusive content.
One time when I was like 8, I was really mad at one of my elementary school friends, and I took You're Not Sorry by Taylor Swift, and I rewrote the lyrics to be about this girl in my class that wouldn't invite me to sing. And it was like a whole thing.
And like,
and I can't.
What a perfectly
song anymore.
No, I understand. What a perfectly dramatic song to pick. First of all, going with that song.
I know.
And second of all, I guess that's just like etched into your brain now.
Yeah.
I mean,
but yeah, as I grew older, I wrote like better songs that I don't think were good anyways, but they just kind of kept getting more and more like actual songs. And and then eventually I was in high school and I was about to graduate, and I put out like a demo thing of like stuff that I did on GarageBand. And I started playing local shows, and then it kind of escalated from there, where I found my manager and actually started recording in like real studios. And
that's amazing.
I feel like there wasn't a point where I like started songwriting. I feel like it's kind of just always been like in me, but
100%.
It was just really bad at first.
You had to get there.
Yeah. I mean, if I was good at it at like 9, that'd be weird.
It would be scary. You have to have the story of like, oh, I was so bad and I was rewriting Taylor Swift, you know? It has to be part of your origin.
Mm-hmm.
How was going from recording it all on your own, like in GarageBand, to then like going into a studio and working with someone else?
It was really crazy because I did like kind of this weird arc where it was like I recorded it by myself with like my acoustic guitar and my mic, and I put my mic between my knees and squatted, and that's how I recorded the guitar. It was that's how I did it.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and I don't know why I did it like that, but and then my actual first EP I did with like one of my friends in his house, and there was like not a whole lot there either. And then my second actual EP was in like a real studio, and it was like a big deal to me. I was like, this is crazy. It was in Omaha.
Okay.
It was with Mike
Middle
Mogus.
of nowhere. Okay, cool.
Yeah, right. It was with Mike Mogus from Bright Eyes, and I was like dying the whole time because I was so excited, but also I had Chipotle for the first time because we didn't have Chipotle.
You don't have Chipotle in Canada?
In Winnipeg, we don't have it.
Okay.
I think they have it in Toronto, but I had it for the first time, and I could not stop pooping.
Makes sense. It's what Chipotle does to you.
I didn't know that. And so I'm like in this studio, and like it's so like everything is so fancy, and I'm trying to like bring my emotions into these songs, and I just have to poop the whole time. And like,
oh my gosh,
so bad, but I had such a good time.
Okay, good. I mean, the end product is great.
Thanks.
Wow.
But it's crazy because now in the pandemic, the way I've been making music is very similar to how I started, where like I've been making music with my friend Roman, and we do it like remotely. He lives like 5 minutes from my house. I just walk over to his like, he has like this shack with a studio in it.
Yeah.
But on days where I don't go over there, he literally sends me a track, and I just use the same USB mic
100%.
and I just record my vocals over it. And I'm like, oh, this feels like I'm like 16 recording my demos.
Yeah.
But it's like real.
Is that like nostalgic for you?
A little, yeah. It's also really like, it's really nice to like, sometimes we'll write together and he'll just like make a track and I get to write by myself over it. So it's like a really nice, like both collaborative, but also like I still get the joy of writing by myself.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you co-write with a lot of people, or do you find?
I go through phases
of
co-writing. Yeah. My first co-write was my song "What I Do."
Okay.
That
slaps.
I did not expect. I had half the song by myself, and it was like this acoustic, like melodramatic, like I suck, what I do. And then I brought it in, and like I was in a session with 2 other people, and they were like, let's make this a pop song. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that, but we did it. And I was like, word, I like this. I guess pop songs sometimes.
Hey, there you go. I love that song. Like that came out 2019, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That like when that came out for like the first year it was out, it was like all I listened to.
Oh my God.
There's just like something laced in it that I don't know what it is, but it's so good.
Oh my God. You know what's crazy about that song? I wrote that as like a love song.
Oh,
but
okay.
Everyone thinks it's a breakup song because I'm just like an Enneagram 4 that doesn't know how to express happiness.
You know,
it's like
you know what's really funny is I'm also an Enneagram 4, so I understand your perspective of it.
Yeah, because like when I started writing it, I was like, this is a love song. This is the most romantic thing I've ever written. Yeah. And now all of the reviews are like, Taylor Janzen writes about this breakup, and I'm like, this is a love song.
Like, okay, take it as you want to, but
do you not like take these words that sound basically I'm just hating myself, and you don't take that as a love song?
Like, how dare you?
It's not my fault.
Oh my God, that is so funny. I feel like we're very similar. And we talked about this the last time we hung out right before COVID hit, but I feel like we're similar in the way that we just feel things like so intensely. Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
emotions are always high.
Yeah.
And how do you feel like that affects your songwriting?
It helps, but it also, if I'm like too upset, that I can't do anything.
Yeah.
Especially in COVID, it's very difficult sometimes. But I do think that it is nice to have like something to fall back on, where it's like it doesn't really matter like what I'm feeling or how absolutely shitty it is. It's like I can still put it into this like song, and even if it's the worst song ever, at least I did something with it. And yeah, especially with COVID and like inevitably like writing by myself again, it's been good. I've been writing probably my saddest song, which is a lot, says a lot, but I've been writing some of my darkest songs lately, but I'm simultaneously very obsessed with them. So
good. Hey, get it out. And do you think that was like what music was to you before it kind of became your job? Was like an outlet for you to express your emotions?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I started writing because I like couldn't deal with emotions, and I grew up like super Christian, and it like wasn't super encouraged to like do things with your feelings.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and so like using songwriting to do that was great for me. And especially I think the emotion that has like been the most helped by songwriting is just like the sifting through religious turmoil and all that stuff, because some of my favorite songs are songs that like deal with that topic, because when I was younger I'd never heard anyone talk about that. And so now I just like write a bunch of songs about that, because I feel like I'm always sifting through it. And so yeah, it helps a lot. It helps me like figure out how I see the world.
100%. And like what a cool way to like be able to document too, just like how you've processed things and how your opinion about things has changed over the years and stuff like that. That's incredible. It's like
it is
little
crazy.
diary.
Yeah, except everyone gets to listen
to
it.
That's true. Would you say like when was the moment for you that doing music became like a career, or like the moment you were like, this is what I want to do for a job?
Well, I've never considered doing anything else in my whole life. Like as soon as I saw Avril Lavigne doing her thing 6. And was like, oh, that's her job, then I was like, yeah, that's gonna be my job. And like I never considered that I might fail until I got older. But like
I love the confidence.
Yeah, and then I got older and I was like, oh, I have no idea where to even start with that. But I'd say the moment where it like really felt like a career was when I signed with Glassnote. But before then, it was always something that I was working towards, and so it just felt like I signed with Glassnote, and then I was like, I can't back out now.
So I'm contractually locked in.
Yeah.
How was that? Like, what did it feel? How did that feel, signing that deal?
It was so cool. And so I'm signed with Glassnote and then also Arts and Crafts in Canada.
Cool. Okay.
And yeah, it's just like, it's such a surreal thing to have people want to give you money so that you can make songs because 100%. They think that your songs are good. Like, that's just insane. Like, I'm just like, basically I was given money to just like make people sad, and I'm like, perfect.
You said awesome. Perfect job for me.
Yeah, perfect.
That is wild. That's so cool. And like what an awesome moment also, like, because how old were you when you signed?
I would have been 20.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
Wow. So, what a like crazy moment for a 20-year-old.
Yeah, it was crazy. And like I met the head of my label for the first time when I was doing the Shouting Matches music video, which is I'm like painted head to toe in gold. So he like came on set and I just like walked up and I was like head to toe in gold.
You said, hey, King.
I was like, hey. And like I felt, it was so weird because the paint wouldn't dry, so I just felt like wet.
Oh,
gross.
And like, did you have anything on underneath that, or was it just paint?
Well, like I had like clothes.
Yeah.
Oh,
like, you're right. Like... Now I'm remembering what it looks like. For one moment, I was like, oh my gosh, was she naked and had clothes on? No, you're right. There are clothes. I'm remembering the video now.
Yeah, the clothes are also painted.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Just, like, you have wet clothes hanging off of you.
Yes.
And I had to like walk on like paper so that I wouldn't get everything like gold. Yeah. And I was just talking to this head of Glassnote, who's the nicest person, and I was just like, hi, I don't always look like this. And then
what a good first impression though, can't forget that one.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Would you say, what is your favorite song you've written?
It hasn't come out yet.
Oh my gosh, okay, fun.
I have some that are, just like my favorite songs that I have ever written, and they just are not out yet. But
wow, okay, great.
Coming.
We'll leave the people hanging.
Leave it all hanging.
I would say, well, like what I do is just like a banger for me. Like that's such a good, like in the car, like good pop, sad, but also not sad song. But another song that I feel like you like took from my like soul and like put it into a song was Devotion. Like what?
Interesting. I love Devotion.
I also love Devotion. And I think
thank you.
You're welcome. For people who, haven't heard it, first of all, go stream. Second of all, I think the note in it, I mean, do you want to explain? I will let you explain your own song and I don't need to explain it to you, but I have a line that we could talk about when you're done.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote that song in a session with the same person that I wrote What I Do With.
Oh, cool.
And I had this topic because I had been writing a lot about like the Christian church and God and existence. And I was like, man, I have to like find a different topic.
Yeah. take a chill pill for a minute.
Yeah, but I couldn't.
But you couldn't.
I was just so hyper focused on this one topic. So basically I was like, oh, I'm gonna write like a song that sounds like a breakup song, like from a romantic relationship, but it's actually about like my like quote unquote breakup with like my version of the Christian church.
And so interesting. Okay.
And I was like basically trying to mask it as much as I could with like other types of lyrics, which I typically don't do. But I was like, this was a fun little experiment.
I love it.
And the production was something I'd never done before. It was just like so cool. And it was like in my mind, kind of like a Tegan and Sarah sainthood moment for me. And yeah, that's the song.
Wow. Well, my perception of it was so different, but love the real like truth behind it. But I think just that line of, I don't want to have to choose between loving you and knowing me. Like, oh my God, what a dagger to the heart.
Thank you.
I feel like, I mean, in the way that you just explained, like, what it really means to you, like makes so much sense in that relationship with the church, but also in your like facade of in a relationship. I feel like that just can be so relatable in so many different like silos. And I feel like also for people like you and I as 4s on the Enneagram who feel things like so intensely, it's just like sometimes so hard to know what is me just like caring so much for other people, and then like what is also like what is really me and what am I actually feeling.
Yeah. And the thing is that like I don't think that those should be like, I don't think loving someone wholeheartedly and like also forgetting yourself, I don't think that those like you don't have to choose between them.
No,
I think you can do them both if you are loving someone that cares about you.
100%. Yeah.
And like when I was growing up in the church, it was very there was a lot of like self-forgetting vibes. That was always the thing, was like forgetting yourself. And I just always found that not great for
No.
me.
Yeah.
Especially for songwriting. Like, I only write for my own experiences and my own feelings. And I had to really learn how to pay attention to myself because I wasn't taught how to.
Yeah.
And like pay attention to my own emotions and like learn how to sit across from them and listen to them
100%
when they're uncomfortable. And yeah, so that's kind of like where the song comes from.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's such like an important lesson too, of just being able to like sit with your feelings and not always be like, here's a feeling that I need to solve or, you know, quote unquote fix or something like that. Like sometimes you just have to sit with them and let them be and let them, you know, let your mind and body feel what it feels and then like go from there.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, my emotions are almost always trying to tell me something, even if what they're trying to tell me is that I need to go see a psychiatrist.
Yes,
but yeah, I mean, like usually when I kind of like to think of my emotions as like my mental like nervous system, where it's like if you put your hand on a stove, like it hurts because you're supposed to take your hand off the stove.
Yeah.
So like when I feel like very deep sadness or very deep anger or whatever, I just try to like listen to it and like unpack what it's trying to tell me, because it's usually trying to tell me something important that I missed, even if it's not entirely obvious.
100%. God. And then there's like so much just like growth from there, and you just like get to know yourself so much better, which I think is incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably makes your songwriting just even better.
Sometimes
that, well, you know, happens to all of us. So that was the last song you put out. How did, like, I am so sick of like talking about COVID and like 2020. I think it's just like the worst thing ever. So like everyone, like I bet, you know, your year changed so much, but with that behind us, like what are you, like, how are you moving forward from that? Like, what's, you know, things you're taking away from that or things you're excited about or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah. It's so interesting, like the way that I thought my life was going to look, which I mean, most people can say that. But I really had a lot of plans happening and it was really, really heartbreaking when it kind of all went all over the place. And the first, like I released 3 songs with like, it was like What I Do, I Feel Darkness, and Devotion. And they were at that time a part of like a full-length album that I had written, and I had just finished writing it literally right before COVID. I was in LA, finished writing it, and then COVID happened. I had to go home. And then everything happened. But yeah, I had this whole album, and we were just gonna like kind of wait to put it out at first because we didn't know how long the pandemic would last. But as time kept passing, I was like writing songs that I liked better. And so I scrapped like over half of it. And I kind of just started over, and yeah, now I'm working on a different project, which at some point soon something will happen with it.
Love it. Can't wait.
but it's so weird because I look back on the album that was supposed to happen and I'm like, oh, that wasn't great. I mean, it was fine. Like, it was fine. It just like the songs that I'm writing now are just like so much better. And I feel like I somehow got to skip like this awkward stage that I would have been in if I released it. And the project that I'm working on now is just like so much more cohesive, and a lot of it was written by myself too. And I found the producers that I love to work with and that I trust, and it's just really nice to kind of have something good come out of such an awful time. I think it's really important to try and find a couple of good things.
100%. I know we have to somehow.
It's crazy
because we're gonna like drive ourselves insane. You know, but there's like, you know, hope moving forward. How do you think that being like such a big fan of music has impacted like you being an artist?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been good for me because I'm a fan of so many different types of artists, and I hear influence from all of them in my music, even when they're not obvious. So like there's the obvious ones, like Tegan and Sarah are very much in my music, or like Paramore is like in my music somehow, and like Phoebe Bridgers, or like just like all those singer-songwriters, and like Nick Drake, and like they're all in there. But then there's like, I remember I was working with JT Daly when I was like in Nashville, and we were working on this song, and he looks at me and he's like, do you want to add a Me Without You moment? And I was like, hell yeah, I do.
Bring it on.
Like I've been influenced by Me Without You probably more than any other band, but like very subconsciously, in like a more subtle way. Whether it's lyrically or even melodically, sometimes it just like it just hits me.
No, I love it.
Yeah, or like I just am really grateful that there are so many different bands that I can draw from, and I don't really, even in my own music, I kind of genre hop a lot, and I'm happy to be able to do that.
Yeah, which must be so fun.
It is fun. It's a little like, sometimes I'm a little scattered.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. I like drawing influence from all my favorites, so it's always a good time.
Good. But do you ever feel, I know this like reflects in a lot of different ways, but do you ever feel that like weird complexity of being like a girl who likes music a lot, but then also like needing to be able to be taken seriously? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like the term fangirl can be so like weirdly interpreted.
Yes.
Like I'm a fan of all of my favorite bands, and I'm a girl, but that doesn't mean like I'm hysterical.
No, exactly. And even if like, you are, maybe that's okay.
Sometimes I am hysterical, honestly.
Yes.
But like, yeah.
Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
When girls like things, it's not taken seriously. That's always a thing.
Yeah. And I just think it's so frustrating for people who work in the music industry or are an artist or like any of that. I've seen just a common thread of girls and women feeling like, you know, once they figure out I'm a fan of this band, all of a sudden I'm just put into this box, and you know, aren't taking us as seriously, or you know, I'm just written off as like another girl who likes a really attractive man like Harry Styles, you know, or something like that, which I think is so frustrating, because like what would the industry be without fangirls?
Yeah. And like, I mean, just like the pressure to like be chill about like how much you like a band because you're a girl. Like it's just so weird.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's a very weird thing, especially when you're an artist and you're like, well, I'm an artist because I'm a fan of music. Like
exactly.
I wouldn't be in this industry if I didn't like music. Like that's
100%. Has there been anyone that you've met now that like you met because you're an artist, you know, like anyone you were a big fan of that now you've met and it's just been like kind of a surreal moment?
Yeah, actually working with JT Daly was insane for me. I have been, when I was in high school, I was a huge fan of Paper Route, and and I've always been a fan of his work. And then he was like on my list of people I wanted to work with for a few specific songs. And I didn't think he would say yes. But he did, and I went to Nashville and I worked with him, and I'm always kind of weary when I meet people that I look up to. Because I'm scared that they'll hate me.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
But I'm also scared that that they're not gonna be nice. But he was literally the nicest person. He was so awesome to work with, and like he's one of my favorite people that I've ever worked with. And the songs that we made were some of my favorite songs that on my next project, and that's probably been like a pretty surreal moment for me.
That's so amazing.
That would be it.
Oh, good. I know, and like so full circle.
And my cousin who got me into Paramore also got me into Paper Route, and I would be like texting her and be like, I'm working with JP daily.
You said
it would be like at Thanksgiving, and I'd be like, hey, guess who I worked with last week?
I'm dead. That's incredible. Sometimes you have to flex on him.
I'm such a dick to my cousin.
No, you have to do it. You have to do it. That's so amazing. My next question was what's next for Taylor, but I feel like you've already kind of answered that. A project that will remain unnamed, and you just have to follow Taylor to find out what happens.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. But other than that, I just like hang out with my dog in Winnipeg.
But your dog is so dumb cute.
I do. He's also just dumb.
Why?
He's such an asshole. Oh man, when I got him, I had only had experience with like retrievers and labs.
Okay.
Like that whole vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, ooh, a new dog breed.
Yeah.
A border collie blue heeler. That's gonna be fun.
Sounds great to me.
And like I had done research. I was like, oh, he's gonna be really smart and like kind of energetic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. For the first year of his life, I wanted to die.
Oh my gosh.
He was just the worst. He herds me all the time.
Oh, stop. I didn't even think of that.
He literally, the first day I got him, he was already hurting me. And I was like, you are 4 months old.
He said, stop
you
it.
Need to just be brought down a bit. And he loves to humiliate me in public whenever I bring him anywhere.
Yeah.
He is like the sweetest dog I've ever had. Like he is like my little best friend. I do love him.
Yeah.
I don't just hate him.
Yeah.
But
sometimes
he makes it a little difficult.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, what's his name again? Something like very
his name
human.
Is Lewis. Okay, yes. His name's Lewis.
I love that.
He has like ears that are way too big for him. And I love him a lot. I've become one of those people that can only talk about their dogs because that's all I do. I just hang out with my dog.
I'm impressed it took you this long to talk about him. So
yeah, I'm impressed with myself as well.
I'll make sure to put a picture of Lewis on the Instagram so everyone can see what we're talking about because he is so cute. Please do.
I'll provide a good one.
Thank you.
If nothing else, he's just objectively very beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Like he is a very beautiful dog. And I'm very proud of him. But he's kind of like me. Like he's like me and a dog.
Oh, okay.
Like he's very melodramatic.
Okay.
All the time and so loud and just is so much.
Yeah, and that's okay.
So overly enthusiastic. He's a fangirl, but like the more stereotypical version of a fangirl.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Where like when he sees a person, he like jumps up on them and tries to like kiss their face.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like he's trying to bite them and they freak out. And I'm like,
you're like, no.
Oh God.
He just loves big.
Yeah, he just has a lot of feelings.
Oh, sweet thing. Well, he seems like a good match for you, even if he drives you a little crazy.
Yeah. He is a good match for me. I do love him a lot.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, I have a couple rapid fire for you now, which don't feel pressure to like answer them quickly because I wrote them and then realized that they're not always short answers, but that's okay. Okay, number one, what's your favorite song at the moment?
Oh my God. I always forget as soon as someone asks me.
Oh, 100. I always have to look
whatever music I listen to. Probably. Oh my God.
Take your time. Don't feel pressure.
Okay. I probably like Mr. Perfectly Fine.
Okay, yeah.
But also I'm really into like the new Julian record. So
I haven't listened to it yet.
High.
Okay.
Zip Tie is my favorite. That's probably my favorite song at the moment.
Okay, perfect. But, I have to listen. That's like been on my list.
It's
and
really
I just
good.
Haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's amazing.
Okay, number two, what's the best concert you've ever been to?
Oh man, probably. Oh, I don't know if this counts. Because it was a festival.
That's okay. It can count.
Probably Maggie Rogers at Shaky Knees.
Okay, yeah.
It was insane. We were playing that festival and the lineup for that festival was insane. There were so many good bands, and I was so stoked. And I was like double fisting the like rum and coke from the artist bar, and I was like in the crowd watching like Maggie Rogers, and like I had never seen her live before, because the thing about living in Winnipeg is no one comes here. So like I have a deep appreciation when I do see an artist live. And so I'm just standing there, and I feel like I was just a little tipsy, double fisting, and like I was like, man, wow, this is I feel God. I felt the presence of God.
I feel God.
And like I was with my drummer who had never listened to Maggie Rogers, and he was just like it was so innocent and beautiful.
That's really sweet. She's so good live.
She's very good live. Yeah.
She's like vocally great. She puts like her dancing, everything. She just like makes you feel it.
Yeah. I almost cried, but that's because I'm a tipsy crier. So
hey, great. Great combination. Oh my gosh. Okay. What is your favorite lyric that you've ever written?
Oh, it's not out yet.
Oh, what about an old one?
I guess an old one. Suddenly forgetting all of my lyrics. Probably the I don't want to have to choose between loving you and knowing me. I'll probably say that one for now. One.
Wow. Okay. Love it. And we'll have an updated answer later in time.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Last one. If you could collab with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
I feel like Stevie Nicks. That would be the one.
Yeah.
But I'd probably just be crying the whole time. And I don't know how great that would be for me.
Could maybe be a great song.
Like there'd be a microphone and I'd just be crying into it the whole time.
Maybe some like tear ASMR or something of like teardrops.
Oh yeah.
Could be fun. Could be fun. Well, that's like everything I have for you. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast. Like so kind of you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
This was so fun.
Collective sound.
Hey Justin, how are you? I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. I think that you should be on this podcast because Isabel kind of looks like Zooey Deschanel if you were to give her bangs, and I think like with the black hair and everything, she kind of looks like Zooey Deschanel, and I think the nostalgia of it would really just like bring a lot of joy to your day. So that is my reason.